You're right, I do look like fucking Rudolph today. Little fucking... The Rosa Korea is like it's everywhere, see? But on this camera, the way it is. So I don't record this live to YouTube. I do it on the camera on the phone first. And a fucking, whatever way it works, it makes me look like fucking Rudolph or an alcoholic or something. A fucking clown, yeah. Or I've been fucking, sticking my fucking nose in, like sniffing fucking glue all day. So anyway, yeah. Even I'm like, what the fuck, So anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, Conor McGregor. The real reason why the Irish establishment fear Conor McGregor's presidency is he's disrupting. He is disrupting a cosy relationship and system that the establishment have run since the beginning of the state. That the presidency would be handed over to an establishment insider, generally a wealthy Protestant or an aristocratic Protestant or a woman or someone who is like not sort of mainstream Irish, and get them to sign off the laws that's the real power there. They can refuse to sign laws that the government want enacted. So, for instance, one of the most despicable creatures that ever held the office, Michael D. Higgins at the moment, he signed the digital ID law during the lockdown, and he never refused the police state law that was put in front of him. Now, they always thought that this cosy arrangement would continue forever, and that it would always be kind of like kept in Ireland, like a kind of a dirty family secret. And here along comes Conor McGregor, genuinely wanting to be president of Ireland. And what makes him so terrifying to the establishment is that he's greater than Ireland. Like the way President Trump asked him to the White House on St. Paddy's Day. He's greater than Ireland. In the sense that he's like me, his reach is beyond Ireland. Like most of my audience are outside of Ireland. And this causes disruption. This causes like a spanner in the works. Because it's not just that he's living in Ireland and running here and part of this cosy cartel of the regime. He's someone who can really cause them problems. Now, it's been very interesting that they run for the Irish president. So we had like Dr. Tony Holohan, the lockdown czar, the COVID czar. He actually thought that the people loved him. And that was very refreshing to see the hatred he received from all quarters of Irish society. And then he says that he can't run because this family were being abused. No, you lying scumbag. I saw thousands and thousands and thousands of posts, and not one of them did I see that actually attacked your family. They all pointed out that you were like the fucking high sparrow out of control during the COVID thing, and you had deliberately locked down the country more than any other country just because you were on a power trip. That's why people rejected you. Outside your own cosy backslapping circles, no one liked you. Former Prime Minister Bertie Ahern, Taoiseach, he put his hat in the ring and then pulled out right away. He doesn't strike me as a particularly bad person. He's probably was the last person that held office in this country that I don't think was like an out-and-out globalist. And then again, he's part of the system. And now we're hearing about Bob Geldof. Well, I don't know how anyone could vote for Bob Geldof. Bob Geldof has spent most of his life attacking Ireland. He even wrote the song Banana Republic, good song. And he's a British knighthood. He's as British as Finchley. He doesn't even like being Irish. So why would he even be considered for the job? I mean, why would anyone vote for him? Just because he sent money to African, regimes, and Live Aid. That's like a whole generation has moved on. Not everyone is a boomer now. There's lots of younger people who never heard of Live Aid or him. So, I mean, that's the whole thing of living in the past. And now this other one, Catherine Conley, and also Sean Flynn, who's the GAA boss, he's pulled out as well. There's this one running for Fine Gael, and she's got the turbo cancer probably from the jibby jabbies, and that she's had to pull out. So there's this one called Catherine Conley, and she's an out-and-out communist. She said the other day that Conor McGregor is unfit for office. Firstly, that's not for you to decide. That's for the Irish people to decide. And secondly, she cares more about trannies than she does about Irish women, real natural Irish women. And she cares more about Palestinians than she does our people in Ireland. We don't need these types anymore. We don't need these telescopic philanthropists leftists and communists who, she was just more Michael Higgins again. She was just more Michael Higgins. The same shit, The guy who insulted Jewish Holocaust survivors by telling them they basically had it coming over because of what happened in Gaza. I mean, we don't need these people anymore. A guy who made Ireland look terrible all over the world by looking like a fucking hobbit and making a mockery of the fucking country. Making a joke of the country, a leprechaun. We need a strong male leader. Or a strong female leader, and she's absolutely not it. She's already started insulting Trump and Vance and all these people. This is what we want. Do we want that? What you want? Conor McGregor is a good choice. Now hear me out. I don't care about the fucking trial. I don't care about the fucking stories. I couldn't give a fuck. Okay, I've learned at this stage in my life that you judge a person on the entirety of what they bring to the table. And he's actually bringing a lot. Firstly, he's bringing the ability to heal the relationship between Ireland and the United States, which has been catastrophically damaged by the current regime, including the, Simon Harris calling Trump a gowl on live radio and thinking he'd get away with it until he found out that he was marching with some dumbass Irish American group on Paddy's Day, and it was actually what's his name, Conor McGregor, who was in the White House. Conor McGregor has one attribute that in this day and age I value amongst all others. He gives a shit about his country. All the others are globalists, internationalists, Marxists, Bolsheviks, corporate interests. He has no corporate interest. No company owns him. None, not one. Do you ever think about that one? There's not a unless the what you call it, MMA or whatever it's called, or the mixed mark. That guy Dana is selling pharmaceuticals. He has no corporate interests. Now that alone is fucking amazing. That we actually have. See, in Ireland, you always have a choice between a politician who's a corporate representative or a communist. He's neither. He's neither. He would also bring a humanity to Ireland that we're not, this whole thing of Michael D. Higgins. I shall now read a poem by Seamus Heaney to represent the feelings of the people of Gaza. And now a soliloquy of Yeats. Give me a fucking break, will you? Give me a fucking break. No, sorry. Here's Michael D. Higgins giving at a press conference. I will now give a little poem. About Gaza, written by the American socialist poem Theodore Burlap. This fucking shit. Get the fuck out of here. Vote for me because there's a photograph of me from 40 years ago at a Bob Dylan concert. Would you ever fuck off? What are the Irish like? So, Conor McGregor's a break from all that. Conor McGregor is a terrifying personality for all those types. He's universally loved all over the world. So therefore, we'd have an Irish president that people would actually know of. The Irish are so insular. They're amazed when they find out that people in England don't even know who the Irish Prime Minister or President is. But this way, for the first time ever, they'll know who the Irish president globally. They'll know who he is. No one knows. No one remembers who Bob Geldof is anymore, and that's a start off for a start. Okay. Secondly, he can heal the damage that the Irish regime did with the United States. Most importantly of all, and the reason I'd vote for him, is because he will actually stop laws that are against the interests of the Irish people. So therefore, because he's not owned by corporations, I mean, this is a chance to actually get some kind of fucking democracy in this country at last. We don't have it otherwise. This is actually a chance. Also, all you people who've been people of Ireland, listen to me, okay? Even if you don't like Conor McGregor, and I don't know why somebody wouldn't. I find him quite likeable in lots of ways. It's the fact that he's just a fella from Crumlin or Lucan. There's something appealing about that. There's no lie in him. You ever notice that? There's no lie. There's no lie there. He is what he is, and that's like so refreshing. But mainly, the main reason is that like you're going to get someone in there that's not going to be signing things into law to appease corporations and big pharma companies. Yeah, I know he said you go and get the vaccine when that first all went on. That's his own business. I don't care. Look, all you children out there have to see the world in bigger pictures, I don't, as a pagan, I'm not bothered that he finished by saying, in Amanar, spirit name, amen. I don't care with that. That means nothing to me. That's his own personal business as religion. I'd rather have that than someone who's like, who's saying that, who like someone who elevates, a feminist who elevates abortion to a holy sacrament. That's his own business, okay? He doesn't push that on anyone else. He doesn't push it on his employees, so he won't push it on us. That's his own business. Look, the main reason why people in Britain voted for Brexit is because it was a chance to say to the regime there, fuck you. And that's why people who never normally voted went out and gave the establishment a kick up the ass. The same thing happened in America with Trump. It was a chance to go to the ballot and say to the political regime, well, fuck you. Ordinary working class people had the chance to do that. And hopefully the 4 county councils that nominate them, and it's only 4 county councils. And listen, if you're a county council around this country, and you truly care about democracy, you should be putting his name on the ballot rather than someone else. And if he gets the 4 of them, it'll be a chance for the Irish people to say to the big pharma politicians, to the Islamic revolutionary politicians of Sinn Féin, it would be a chance to say to the criminals in Fine Gael who over the children's hospital debacle. It's a chance more than anything to say, fuck you. And that's what his great power is for me. On top of that, it's someone who will actually read a law and say, what, you want to lock down the Irish people for this? No. What? You want to force transgender in school? No. Finally we'll have someone who's not an internationalist communist. I mean, to me, the worst choice of all would be Catherine Connolly. Jesus Christ. Absolutely insane. The vote her in. It'd be the same Bolshevik, anti-Semitic, American-hating, pro-EU globalization, lockdown, everything. We can't have that anymore. We can't have these kinds of creatures in the office anymore. We need a break. We need a moment to actually frighten the establishment. And Conor McGregor represents that. So put all your bullshit aside, okay? Put all your little hang-ups aside and say to yourself, as a working class person, what party in government represents me? And the answer is none of them. Labour represent the middle class public sector unions and government workers. Sinn Féin only represent Islam and nothing else. They're the Islamic Revolutionary Party of Ireland. Fine Gael big corporations and landlords. They represent the likes of, you know, the big pharma companies. Fianna Fáil, they don't even exist anymore. All they are the rent boys of Fine Gael. So they're dead and innate as a party, and full of inertia as a party. They don't represent anything. They've got a few of them here and there have big pharma or landlord connections and iPass centres, so they don't represent the Irish people. People before profit, upper middle class types who only care about Palestine. Irish people don't even exist, are obsessed with things like abortion and you know, lowering the age of consent for children and all this sort of crazy trans shit, and total Bolsheviks and crazies that actually still to this day fill their websites full of stuff about how Trotsky is the answer, even though he was a mass murdering psychopath. Who, you know, just. And who else? Social Democrats, absolute lunatics, the worst kind of academic psychotics, people who paint their fingernails with the Palestinian flag on them as a political. Look, with Conor McGregor, you finally have a chance to say, no, this time you're not going to get what you want. Now you think about that twice before you start going on about, well, you know, I heard a story. We heard this about Trump. Sometimes you have got to be the step back and look at the bigger picture rather than being lost in the microscopic. And also one more aspect of Conor McGregor, and I absolutely love this about the guy. He is fully aware that the West is in the middle of an undeclared war by Islam against it. He's the only public figure I've seen say this in Europe. That alone, he gets my vote, because that's the truth. And as a pagan, I'd feel much safer under Christians than I ever would under, especially Catholics, than I ever would under Islam. Take care.